Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next-door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Broadcasting from coast to coast,
city to city, coast to coast.
It's time for the Ryan Hickey Show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If it's happening in sports, it's being talked about right here. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Morning and welcome into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right with you here on this gorgeous, beautiful Monday morning. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Hopefully at least we can get your week started on the right note, as we always try to do right here on the Ryan Hickey Show every Monday and every Thursday until 11 a.m. Eastern. As a reminder, we are coming to you live as always from the Big Italy Pizzeria Studios, whether it's great pizza, hot heroes, and phenomenal dinners. Check out Big Italy Pizzeria if you're on Long Island in person in Medford. Joe's Pizzeria in Bayshore, or anywhere around the globe at BigItalyPizza.com. Very, very, very excited show. We're very excited, I should say, to hopefully deliver a good show for you guys this morning. Coming off week number 9 in the NFL, every game except for one. The marquee matchup, by the way, is tonight. Patriots-Jets, Cam Newton versus Joe Flacco, just what we all need on a Monday night. So that will close the book on week number 9. Can't wait for that one. Hopefully you can sense the sarcasm that I am dripping with right there. But we do have a lot to get into. I think yesterday, week number 9, for some teams was a big moving day. You know, if you're a golf fan, right, they say Saturday is always moving day. Saturday is the day that if you want to try to be in the lead, if you want to try to make attention on Sunday, Saturday is the day you make your move, you try to gain your strokes back and be within striking distance of the lead on Sunday. Yesterday, I thought, was moving day for a few teams for week number 9 as we surpass halfway through the NFL season. I thought a few fringe teams, we'll say, or teams in the mix, right? In the mix to make the playoffs. Maybe not Super Bowl contenders, but in the mix to make the playoffs. And who knows from there, get in the dance, anything can happen. I thought moving day, or I thought yesterday, week number 9 was a moving day for a few teams. We'll discuss the Miami Dolphins. Massive win over the Arizona Cardinals in the desert yesterday. Last week we did the Halloween version of Trick or Treat, right? Basically, are these teams playoff contenders or are they pretenders? Last week I said the Miami Dolphins were basically a trick, a pretender. I may have to backtrack on that. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes or so at 9:20. 9:40. I can't believe I'm saying this. Notre Dame actually did it. They got over the hump. They beat number 1 Clemson in double overtime. Game of the year so far in college football. Just incredible back and forth. I was both right about Notre Dame heading to this game, and I was wrong about Notre Dame heading to this game. I'll tell you why I was right, why I was wrong at 9:40. Top of the second hour. Moving day for another team, the Indianapolis Colts. Were they exposed by the Ravens? Specifically, was this offense exposed by Baltimore's defense? We'll get into that. 10:20, as we always do, quick hits bounce around the league, including Chargers fans. I hope there's none of you left, because honestly, you have to have major health issues if you are still a Chargers fan with the way they continually to lose in excruciating fashion, rip your heart out every single week, find a new way to lose every single week. The West Coast Falcons, they do it again yesterday. We'll dive into that in a few more storylines. At 9:40, we'll finish with a college football point. Florida-Georgia was over this past weekend, a massive game in the SEC. Florida gets over the hump. They beat Georgia. Did Florida prove they can hang with Alabama? We'll discuss that to end the show at 10:40. But I do want to start the biggest story of the day so far, the biggest matchup of week number 9. Last night, Saints and Bucks in Tampa Bay. Storylines galore. Right? Both teams are playing well so far. The Saints coming in 5-2. The Buccaneers coming in 6-2. This is really a chance to kind of decide who will have control of the NFC South going forward, who can maybe get a home playoff game, depending on who wins this game. Obviously, Antonio Brown for the Buccaneers makes his debut. All those storylines going into it. You have Tom Brady again on Sunday Night Football going against Drew Brees. Brady versus Brees, 2 legacies there. That was easily by far the game of the day, the biggest matchup everyone wanted to watch, and because we didn't, because that outcome had so many different variables going forward, so many different impacts for the rest of the season. And as we know, not a game at all. Saints, in case you missed it, Saints roll over the Bucs, blow them out, destroy them, whatever adjective you want to use. They beat Tampa Bay 38-3. It was 31-0 at halftime. 31-0 to a Buccaneers team that I said last week, and I still think to this day, is the most well-rounded team in football. And now with that win, the Saints sweep the Buccaneers, right? They had that Week 1 victory in the Superdome. Go to Tampa Bay on Sunday Night Football, win that. 2-0 against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers this year are the New Orleans Saints. They have control. They're in the driver's seat for the NFC South. But I kind of want to look at it from the flip side here, from the Buccaneers' perspective. Because obviously the Saints looked really good. Drew Brees was on fire. Couldn't miss. The defense did everything right. The offense did everything right. But should there be some concern about the Buccaneers? Because for everything the Saints did right, the Buccaneers did everything wrong. You had smoked 38-3. This is coming off a Monday Night Football game against the Giants last week where they struggled. They barely won that game on a knocked-away 2-point conversion by Antoine Winfield Jr. But again, the Buccaneers Obviously, a way better team than the Giants. It was way closer than it should have been. They've struggled and lost to the Bears in Chicago a few weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. There's been some struggles from Tampa Bay on the big stage here so far in primetime. Should there be some concern about the Buccaneers? Is this a game that we can look at and say, you know what? This maybe exposes some flaws with this team. Maybe this really shows. So sure, they beat some bad teams. They had some nice wins early in the season, but this loss kind of shows the real warts that the Buccaneers have. We should have some concerns going forward. To me, after watching that game yesterday, I'm really not concerned. I really don't take much away, to be honest, from the Buccaneers side after last night. Watching that game yesterday, I tweeted this, and I feel the same way this morning. Yesterday, for the Buccaneers' perspective, that kind of felt like a Murphy's Law kind of game, kind of outcome. Murphy's Law, right? If you're unfamiliar, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. That's kind of how I felt yesterday went for the Buccaneers. The offense, everything that could have went wrong did go wrong. Defensively, everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. Buccaneers did nothing right yesterday. Here are some examples. Tom Brady, 3 interceptions yesterday. Tom Brady came into last night's game, 4 interceptions on the year, throwing 1 just week 2. Threw 3 last night. Drew Brees yesterday, like I said, was on fire. 4 touchdown passes, 6 incompletions. Almost as many touchdown passes as incompletions. He couldn't miss. He was hitting every wide receiver, every tight end, every running back. Everyone was open. He was hitting them all. They're all torching that great Tampa Bay defense. Saints had just 1 punt all game. So, again, they could do no wrong. And anytime they got stopped, they had 2 costly turnovers, 1 deep in Tampa Bay's territory. So, again, they're even moving the ball. Even when they couldn't score, they're still moving the ball up and down the field on this Buccaneers defense. They had 7 first-half possessions. Like I said, it was 31-0 at halftime. The 7 first-half possessions for the Saints. They had 4 touchdown drives, kicked a field goal. Like I said, the one time they were really stopped was a fumble inside the 10-yard line. They're about to go score again, but Tampa Bay got to stop inside their own 10-yard line, and then a kneel down. So 5 scoring drives. If we take away the kneel down at the end of the half, 5 scoring drives and a fumble inside the 10-yard line. Just total domination up and down the field for New Orleans. The Buccaneers, 95 total yards in the first half. Saints are going up and down the field in the first half. The Buccaneers could get nothing going. 3 and out, 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 putting that defense right back on the field just when they come off. Tampa had 8 rushing yards the entire game. So Bruce Arians, as you can imagine, was asked after the game, basically, what the hell happened? And he outlined, essentially, the Saints, they kicked their ass in every single phase last night. Here's Bruce Arians.
We have to go back and look in the mirror, coaches, players, everybody, just from yesterday till today, and, another where we go 3 and out and then give up a touchdown. Second half, I thought we got to turn over and we don't score a touchdown. I thought that kind of was the end of it right then and there. And but, I mean, I have to give New Orleans credit. They kicked our ass in every phase.
There you go. Right? Bruce Arians, as Bruce Arians, he could say, they kicked our ass in every phase. And he's right. Like I said, the Saints had their way with the Buccaneers in every single aspect of the game. I just ran down everything that the Saints did right and the Buccaneers did wrong, right? Tom Brady interceptions, Drew Brees couldn't miss, 4 touchdowns, 6 incompletions. Saints punted once all game. Take away kneel down at the end of the first half. The Saints had 6 possessions in the first half, 5 scoring drives and a fumble inside the Buccaneers' 10-yard line. Buccaneers couldn't get anything going. They couldn't stay on the field in the first half. Everything that went wrong, again, Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Anything the Buccaneers tried to do yesterday went wrong. Nothing went right for them. But here's why I'm not concerned. Here's why after watching that game, kind of just chalking it up to, a stinker, a bad game, kind of one of those days where just nothing goes right. We all have it in life. Just go to work one day or just in life trying to hang out on a Saturday. There are just some days where nothing you do goes right. Nothing can break in your favor. And I thought that's what happened yesterday, more than anything else. Because this defense is not that bad. This defense is not as bad as they showed last night. They have the best pass defense in the NFL heading into last night's game. They're most efficient when it comes to defending the pass. And obviously, as we know, last night, they couldn't slow Drew Brees down at all. Every receiver, every tight end, every running back was open, was gaining yards, was making the catches. So this pass defense, again, most efficient pass defensive team in the NFL, couldn't slow down Drew Brees last night. Tampa Bay, speaking of the defensive side, one of the best at getting after the quarterback, getting pressure, taking the quarterback down, forcing sacks. 3rd in the NFL coming into last night's game with 28 sacks. Last night, the Saints' offensive line dominated them. Allowed 1 sack on Drew Brees. Really, outside of that sack, there was no real pressure in Drew Brees' face. He had clean pockets all night, had plenty of time to get these receivers open. Wasn't forced to scramble out of the pocket, wasn't forced to make some uncomfortable throws, wasn't getting hit and driven to the ground. I don't think Drew Brees' jersey had one grass stain on it. I don't think Drew Brees even touched the ground once. The Saints' offensive line dominated that great pass rush that Tampa Bay has, took them out of the game, and as we know from there, that's part of the reason why Tampa had so many issues trying to defend the pass. So on the offensive side, right, we talked about the defensive side. Let's go to the offensive side. This offensive unit is not as bad as they showed they were yesterday. Like I said before, Tom Brady heading into last night's game, 4 interceptions on the year. 2 versus the Saints in week 1, 1 in week 2, just 1 interception from week 3 to week number 9, a six game spurt right there. 3 interceptions last night. That's not Tom Brady. He's great at protecting the ball, and this offense puts up a ton of points. They are better than the 3 points they put on the scoreboard yesterday. Brady was 4th in the NFL heading into week number 9 with 20 touchdown passes. 20 through 8 games. He was putting up points. He was making some great throws, and his offense was humming up until last night. So sure, I'm not trying to take anything away from the Saints because, again, Saints are a great team. They match up really well. That's the one thing we've seen so far through the first 2 games of these 2 teams playing. The Saints match up really, really well offensively and defensively against this Buccaneers team. So credit to the Saints. Like I said, they did everything right. They made the plays to also put Tampa Bay in some bad spots. Their defense made some great stops deep in Tampa's end that gave the offense for the Saints some great field position all night long. I felt like Drew Brees was starting at midfield every single drive. But I chalked last night up to one of those games where everything broke right for the Saints, everything broke wrong for the Buccaneers. I'm not sitting here and telling you Tom Brady's washed up, the Buccaneers are dead, Tampa is not even going to make the playoffs, let alone not be a threat. I think yesterday was just honestly a 1-game stinker. And it stunk. It really stunk. Don't get me wrong. But I think there's still a lot of good here. I still think this is a team that's working through a lot, trying to get on the same page, and that is really the biggest issue. As we know, the receivers have been banged up, injured, not injured, on the field, off the field. Chris Godwin's in and out of the lineup. Mike Evans is in and out of the lineup. They just tried to work in Antonio Brown yesterday. We know Tom Brady needs continuity. He needs familiarity with his receivers. He needs to be on the same page. He needs to be able to trust them. Right now, because of the injuries, he's not able to do that. So to me, I said this really the last few weeks. The Buccaneers, up to this point, were better than I thought they would be at this point in the season. They're 6-3. They are honestly better than I thought. I thought Tampa with Tom Brady this year was going to be a team that was building for the playoffs, where it could get ugly in September, get a little bit better in October, kind of get their footing in November, and by December kind of hit their stride. And I still think that. I think this is a speed bump. But again, I thought so far to this point, the Buccaneers have played better. Tom Brady's looked more comfortable than I thought he would be up to this point. So I'm not ready here after 1 game. Obviously, we all watched on Sunday Football. It wasn't washed away in the 1 o'clock games. It wasn't in the mix of the 4 o'clock games. This was a standalone game, so we all got to see the Buccaneers struggle. But to me, I'm not taking much out of this game. I'm not concerned about the Buccaneers. I still think they're one of the biggest threats in the NFC, one of the biggest threats in the NFL. Because I trust their defense. I trust their offense. And I chalk up last night to a Murphy's Law type of game. So I'm curious your thoughts. Watching last night's game, right? The game of the day or matchup of the day, matchup of the week in the NFL last night, Saints-Bucks was a total flunk. 38-3, the Saints dominated in every aspect. Are you concerned with the Buccaneers? Are you? Watching last night's game, do you point to the defense? Do you point to the offense? Do you point to Tom Brady? Do you point to Antonio Brown? Do you point to anything on this Buccaneers team that says, you know what? That has me worried. I'm not believing to the Buccaneers. How about the flip side? The Saints. Saints are 6-2 right now. They have some impressive wins. Are they the best team in the NFC? Last week, we'll get into the Seahawks game in a little bit. The Seahawks defense got just totally destroyed by Josh Allen and the Bills offense. Packers have their own issues of late, although they had a nice win against a very banged-up 49er team. They have their own issues on defense. The NFC East, throw it out the window. Saints are 2-0 against the Buccaneers. Are the Saints right now the best team in the NFC? Get your thoughts on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You can comment on the live stream. Twitter, WWSRN_radio. At WWSRN_radio. You can comment on the Periscope live stream right there. If you want to tweet me directly, at Ryan Hickey Show, at Ryan Hickey Show. So right on Facebook, right on Twitter, right on Periscope, we'll get your thoughts. Are you concerned about the Buccaneers? Did last night expose something to you that has you concerned, about Tampa Bay? Are the New Orleans Saints the best team in the NFC? Again, your reaction and your thoughts to the Saints-Bucks last night. And when we come back, like I said to start the show, week number 9 was moving day for a few teams in the NFL. The Dolphins are one of those teams. Are they now a playoff team? We'll discuss next. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do. Oh, tell the world I see with an emoji to stop the bullies.
Know someone who's being bullied online? Send the witness emoji. It looks like an eye in a speech bubble, and it's in the symbol section near the clocks in your phone. You'll let the world know it isn't cool, and you'll let your friend know you care. Learn more about the witness emoji at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And we are back here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Ryan Hickey Show with you until 11 a.m. Eastern, reacting to Buccaneers Saints from last night. To be completely honest, I am not taking much out of that game. There's not much concern-wise I have about the Buccaneers. I'm chalking it up as just one of those days that didn't go their way. Offense stunk, defense stunk, could do nothing well. Special teams couldn't flip the field that much. I thought this was a game last night. Not taking anything away from the Saints. They played very well. But in the grand scheme of things, in the long-term view, I think this is just one of those games, if you look back on it and say, they just played terribly, right? Every team has been in the NFL. One of those games where nothing goes right. If you're playing any other team but the Saints, you probably still win this game. But the Saints were a very good team. They took advantage, and they capitalized. So credit to them. But this is not a game that all of a sudden has me concerned about Tampa Bay or has me worried about Tom Brady or saying this, starts to look his age or jumping off the bandwagon. I still think the Buccaneers are, a massive threat in the NFC. And this is for them kind of like, you know what the Buccaneers are to me? I'll use a basketball reference here for a second. Maybe not a good one considering how their postseason went, but I look at the Buccaneers right now, the way their team is built, the way Tom Brady kind of operates, needing to trust his receivers, being on the same page, and kind of reading the defenses on the same level. Right? A lot of it is nonverbal communication. It's using your eyes to read the defense, saying, all right, he's playing outside, I'm going to run inside, and both of you, the receiver and Tom Brady, seeing at the same time throwing the ball. That's how Tom Brady's offenses are most effective. So I thought he's fit in well so far to Bruce Arians' down the field aerial attack. But I am viewing the Buccaneers season long term, right, over the 16-game span. I'm viewing them similar to the Clippers in the NBA this past season. They got Paul George, they got Kawhi Leonard, right? It's obviously a massive offseason for them. And they always approach the regular season, obviously before the shutdown happened, but they approached the regular season as a build to the playoffs. So they would sit Kawhi Leonard. They would sit Paul George. They wouldn't rush them back. They were always not too concerned about results. They were more concerned about continuity, having these guys ramp up and be ready to go by the time April came around, by the time May came around, and hopefully for them by the time June came around to try to play in the finals. That's how I kind of view the Buccaneers so far. Sure, they had a terrible game yesterday. They've looked good so far through the first 9 weeks of the season, better than I thought up to this point, to be honest. And I thought this is a team, I still think this is a team that has a slow build. They are building towards January football. So sure, week 9 didn't go their way on Sunday Night Football. But they are slowly building, trying to get everyone on the same page, trying to get everyone playing their best football and peaking in December and January, not peaking in October and November. That's part of the reason why, going back early in September, I jumped off the Saints bandwagon very quickly. Didn't trust Drew Brees. He looked old then. Now, to his credit, he's played a lot better since then. So I'm eating my words a tiny bit. But part of the reason why I'm not jumping back on the Saints bandwagon, and I won't this year no matter what happens, is because the Saints have notoriously peaked in October and peaked in November. They play their best football in the middle of the year, and when it comes down to it at the end of the year, when it comes down to December, Drew Brees has showed his age the past few years. When it comes to January, Drew Brees has really shown his age in the last few postseasons. They've run out of gas, they've run out of steam, and they've gone home early. So sure, that is a bludgeoning, a total beatdown last night by Drew Brees and the Saints. Right? Drew Brees got the last laugh. Tom Brady looked terrible. Drew Brees looked great. The Saints' offense looked great. The Saints' defense looked great. Everything about the New Orleans Saints looked great yesterday. But guess what I'm not doing? I'm not panicking because I know the long-run view for the Buccaneers is January football. Play your best in January, not November. Receivers, again, are shuffling in and out of the lineup. I am confident that once January comes, the Buccaneers will be a very well-rounded football team hitting their stride. So that's why yesterday I don't have much concern, to be honest, coming out from Tampa Bay. I don't. I think it's just one of those games where everything went wrong. And you know what? Unfortunately for them, it happened on Sunday Night Football when the whole world was watching. But I'm curious your thoughts. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Twitter, WWSR_radio. Comment on the live stream. Also, Ryan Hickey Show. You can tweet me there as well. Like I said, going into the tease here, going to the break, starting the show. Week 9, in my mind, in my view, was moving day for a few teams trying to make a playoff run, trying to make the playoffs. One of those teams yesterday was the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins with a massive win yesterday, 34-31 over the Cardinals. Moved to 5-3 in the year, and don't look now, winners of 4 straight. when you look at the playoff seedings, again, week 9, we're halfway through the year, plenty of time to go. But the Dolphins are holding on to that 7th and final playoff spot right now as you sit here on Monday, November 9th, which is something I was not expecting to say. I don't think many people, even Dolphins fans, were expecting to say it all this year. I thought this was going to be one of those seasons where 6-10, maybe if everything goes right, if Tua looks good, the team develops from last year to this year. I thought maybe 7-9 was a record that the Dolphins could kind of hang their hat on and consider that a successful season. But now here we are again, 9 weeks through the season. The Dolphins are 5-3, holding on to that 7th and final playoff spot, and now we're currently in a dogfight. It is the Dolphins, it's the Raiders, it's the Colts, it's the Browns. All 4 of those teams are 5-3. All 4 of those teams are fighting for really 2 playoff spots. So I'm going to count the Ravens at 6-2. I'm going to give the Ravens a playoff spot. So 4 teams at 5-3 fighting for 2 playoff spots. The discussion is, can the Dolphins make the playoffs? Can Miami, midway through a Ryan Fitzpatrick career year, benching him, going to Tua, and really not losing any steam, can they make the playoffs? Is this a playoff caliber team? To me, the answer is yes. They are 100% a playoff caliber team. This team is on the right track. They're going for it. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because even just last week, again, I don't mean to contradict myself a week after saying this, but I'm about to. Last week, did the Halloween version of Trick or Treat for NFL playoff teams, are they contenders or pretenders? I put the Dolphins in the trick category, a.k.a. playoff pretender, because honestly, I thought, watching that Rams game, I thought, again, I was impressed by what Tua was doing. He wasn't asked to do a lot, but I thought in the minimum requirements that he had on the field, the minimum he was asked to do, I thought he looked pretty well. He looked pretty good doing it. But I thought because they're going to Tua the rest of this year, that he was going to get a feel for the offense, get his feet wet, and it was going to be one of those building moments where the offense is going to have some growing pains with a first-year rookie quarterback. And it was one of those things where, you know what, you're going to try to have some hope. You're going to have obviously some rough patches, some bad games. But I think this is going to be a year where you're going to try to have development with Tua. Lose some games, not worry about the playoffs, not get hung up in the moment like some other teams like Ron Rivera and the Washington football team looking at wide open NFC East thinking they have a chance. Kind of mortgaging your future to make the playoffs now. I liked what the Dolphins were doing last week and 2 weeks ago when they made the announcement. I like that they weren't getting caught up in the moment, looking at the standings and saying, hey, you know what, we're close. They didn't mortgage the future to chase a playoff spot. But through 2 games so far, I can't lie, Tua's looked comfortable, he's developing, and he's playing well and allowing the Dolphins to work on his development, but also chase a playoff spot. It's a 2-for-1. Because watching yesterday's game against the Cardinals, looking at Tua from start number 1 against the Rams last week to start number 2 against the Cardinals yesterday, it was night and day. It was night and day, and that's why I'm a believer in the Dolphins, to be honest. This team is 100% right in the mix, and they are a playoff caliber team. Going back to last week against the Rams, right? 2 threw for under 100 yards, a few completions, threw a touchdown. But a lot of the throws, a lot of what he was asked to do last week were quick and easy throws. Get the ball out quick, one read, bang, one read, bang. Don't want to, have him sit back in the pocket for too long. You have Aaron Donald. You have some other great pass rushers for the Rams. Don't want him to be a sitting duck. One read and throw the ball. But watching yesterday's game against the Cardinals and start number 2, they took the handcuffs off. They let Tua play. And you know what? Tua made plays. He threw the ball down the field, had some nice passes. His stat line is impressive. 20 of 28 yesterday, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, made some nice throws. Had some strong throws on the run, where he's throwing some BBs across the field to receivers, to Devontae Parker, to Preston Williams, and more. Just as importantly, I should say, as making those strong throws, he was smart with the football. No interceptions yesterday. This is a Cardinals team. Last game they played, right, on Sunday Night Football 2 weeks ago against the Seahawks, forced 3 Russell Wilson interceptions, including one in overtime that helped them win the game. So this defense can get after, can confuse one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Tua was still smart with the ball. He wasn't confused. He knew what he was doing and didn't make any bad decisions. Not to mention, something I was not expecting, something I didn't think we would see at all this year, he was using his legs to make a few plays. He threw a few jukes on some Cardinal defenders that were picking up their jock straps. 7 carries yesterday. He had the ball 35 yards. Escaped a few pockets where it's like, oh, wow. Even to get 5 yards, but you save yourself from like a 10-yard sack. I was really impressed yesterday, not only by the way Tua played, but the way that the Cardinals kind of, again, let the reins loose and just let him play some football. After the game, Tua talked about his comfort in the offense now through 2 weeks.
I think Chan did a great job with, getting me comfortable with, getting the ball out quick and then also looking downfield and, just going through my progression reads as well. But, kudos goes to everyone, up front with the O-line, the blocking with the backs, and then all the receivers making plays.
Yeah, look, it obviously wasn't perfect. Chan referring to Chan Gailey, offensive coordinator for the Dolphins. But this is a team, when you look at in terms of the playoff race, right? Not just what was too impressive yesterday, and again, made some plays for the Dolphins to win the game. This is a very well-rounded team. Because guess what happened yesterday? The defense made some plays when they needed to. Sure, right? They gave up 31 points. Not great. But you know what they did do? They had a massive strip sack on Kyler Murray to get the first touchdown of the game. They're scoring points on defense. They've given up 31 points to a very lethal, very successful Cardinals offense, right? Kyler Murray, as we've seen, having a great second year so far. You give up 31 points. The Cardinals offense is driving late in the game. 4th and inches, tied at 31. You know what the Dolphins defense does? Gets a stop. 4th and inches, you get a stop, you get the ball back. Tua leads this team down the field for a field goal, the game-winning eventual field goal by a guy who just doesn't miss. By the way, Jason Myers. Ridiculous. Every kicker is having their own issues here, no matter who you have. Really, outside of Justin Tucker, right, because he's almost not even human with the Ravens. Every other team has kicker issues in one way or another. And here's the Dolphins kicker, Jason Myers. Boom, boom, boom. I believe it's 20 field goals in a row for him. Automatic. So you get a massive field goal, take the lead, and guess what? The defense gets one more stop. Don't allow the Cardinals and Kyler Murray to get too deep, and Zane Gonzalez's 49-yard field goal comes up short. So the defense, sure, they gave up 31 points. You got a defensive score, and the 2 drives at the end of the game, when you're already beaten, right, for 31 points, when you've had a tough day, they are mentally tough enough to get not one stop, but 2 and help win the game. So credit to this defense, who coming into the week was the best in terms of allowing points per game on defense, under 19 points per game, with number 1 in the NFL. Again, obviously allowed way more than 19 points, but they made the stops when they needed to. That's impressive. Speaking of the Dolphins making the playoffs, part of trying to make a playoff run, part of trying to be in the mix at the end of the year is having winnable games. And guess what? The Dolphins have a favorable schedule. So they have 8 games left. 6 of the 8 games are legitimately winnable games. Games they maybe not should win, all of them, but games they can win. They play the Chargers at home this week. They play at Denver against the Broncos, at the Jets, home against the Bengals, home against the Patriots, at the Raiders. If you want to be even generous, although the Bills look like they ran into shape yesterday, they play at the Bills still. Which, depending on which week and which Josh Allen you get, maybe that's a winnable game as well. So 6 out of the 8 games, conservatively, you could say the Dolphins have a chance to win or should win. So that's very good at sitting at 5-3 already. And again, you look at the teams they're competing on. I said it earlier, right? They are taking on, or at 5-3, holding them to the last playoff spot. There are 4 teams at 5-3 battling for the last 2 playoff spots so far halfway through the season. It's the Dolphins, then it's also the Raiders, the Colts, the Browns. All 3 of those other teams have their own issues, have their own holes. The Raiders' offense is pretty good, right? I trust John Gruden. I trust Derek Carr for the most part. But that defense is horrendous. Terrible. one of the worst in the NFL. And we have the Seahawks defense, which we'll get to later on in the show. We have the Cowboys defense. There's some bad defenses in the NFL, and the Raiders are right there in the running for one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So they're top-sided or top-heavy, if you will, good offense, bad defense for the Raiders. The Colts, complete opposite. Elite defense, can get after the quarterback, are very fast, slow down that lethal Ravens running attack. But their issue is you have Philip Rivers at quarterback. We'll get to that at 10 a.m., 20 minutes from now. I want to get to more about the Colts. But you have Philip Rivers at quarterback. Guess what? That's good if you're the Dolphins. That's a good thing to have. And finally, the Browns, they're a team that's been a roller coaster. They've been inconsistent. They have high of highs, winning some great improbable comeback victories. They played great against the Colts for the most part in their win early on. They had an incredible comeback, albeit against the Bengals, but incredible comeback over the Bengals. But they've also been dominated by the Ravens, embarrassed by the Steelers, lost a questionable home game to the Raiders last week. They're up and down. They're a roller coaster. And not to mention, they also have some injury issues. So all three of these teams the Dolphins are competing with, the Raiders, the Colts, and the Browns, all have their own warts, all have their own issues. So I'm a believer in the Dolphins. I really am. I can't believe I'm saying that. And you know what? Shame on me last week for not giving the Dolphins more of a chance. I personally thought they were 1 year away again. I liked the move going to Tua. I agreed with it. I just thought that move meant they were looking more for the future than the present, which, again, I agree with. I just thought the offense wouldn't be able to play well enough consistently in order to have a chance to win consistently in order to make the playoffs. And guess what? These last 2 weeks, yesterday specifically, has you reconsidering that. Tua looked good, made the plays he needed to make, looking comfortable. And the more that's put on his plate, I think the more dangerous he'll be. I think he's up for the challenge. So the Dolphins have a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. They're a legitimate playoff contender. And I'm buying into the Dolphins. So I'm curious your thoughts. It's Tua time in Miami. You think that would mean that they are looking for the future, maybe looking towards 2021 as the year that they look to maybe make some damage. If you want to compare, maybe I thought they could be the Cardinals of 2019. They have a fun offense with Kyler Murray. Not good enough overall in 2020 for the Cardinals. Obviously, this year is the year they make the playoffs. I thought 2021 for the Dolphins could be that year where they kind of comes together and it's playoff expectations for them. But no. 2020 is right now, and they are legitimate playoff contenders. So I'm curious your thoughts. What do you think of the Dolphins? What do you think of the Dolphins? It's Tua time in Miami. Can this team make the playoffs? What are your impressions so far from Tua Tagovailoa 2 weeks in? Ricardo Etienne, fired up on Facebook about the Dolphins, has written 4 comments on Facebook, all Dolphin emojis. Assuming he's a big Dolphins fan, I'm sure he is fired the hell up. Watching Tua, watch him go into the desert against a very tough, balanced, potent Cardinals team yesterday. And the Dolphins, led by Brian Flores, led by Tua Tagovailoa, come out victorious. Can the Dolphins make the playoffs? Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio. Or on Twitter as well, at Ryan Hickey Show. You want to tweet me directly. We'll get your thoughts. Can the Dolphins make the playoffs? And when we come back, Notre Dame got over the hump. They finally got over the hump. But now looking forward, looking towards the playoff, they have to do it again. I'll explain. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless
practice at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
We are back here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Ryan Hickey Show until 11 a.m. Eastern on this gorgeous Monday morning. Not going to complain on November 9th when it is 70, almost 70 degrees here, at least in the Northeast. Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully it makes your Monday a little bit better. You can get out, get some fresh air. And hopefully at least also enjoy listening to the Ryan Hickey Show for the next hour and 12 minutes to be exact here. As we appreciate you coming in and playing the song Can't Stop. You know who can't stop right now? The Miami Dolphins. 4 wins in a row. Tremendous win yesterday in the desert over Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. They moved to 5-3 and holding on to that 7th and final playoff spot. We're taking your thoughts. Are the Cardinals, I'm sorry, not the Cardinals, are the Dolphins playoff contenders? Ricardo Etienne. I wonder if he's Travis Etienne's dad. Well, maybe we should ask him. That'd be pretty cool. Travis Etienne, stud running back for Clemson. Actually, we'll get to that game in 1 second here, but we'll give Ricardo Etienne, maybe his dad, maybe his brother. We don't know. Maybe we'll find out. We'll give him his due. Seems like a big Dolphins fan. He is fired up, is blowing up Facebook right now, commenting dolphin emoji after dolphin emoji after dolphin emoji. He writes, "We finally got our guy. assuming that means quarterback in Tua, which I would agree with. And he writes also, Brian Flores needs to get a whole lot more respect and praise around the league based off his tenure in Miami so far. Specifically closing out as they did last year and where they are now. Ricardo, I could not agree more. Now, to be fair, I think Brian Flores has gotten a lot of respect. I don't think anyone looks at Brian Flores' tenure so far and says he could do more. He leaves a lot to be desired. This is a guy that maybe because we're not talking about Miami totally on a national level, maybe we will. Maybe today is the first day we start to talk about the Dolphins more and more and more. Because then coming into the year, for me, realistically, I thought 7-9 would be the ceiling for the Dolphins. Play Tua at some point, get his feet wet, get him comfortable with the offense, and then from there, try to have 2021 be the year where you put it all together. Defense plays great, offense plays great, and you can make a playoff run then. I thought they were a year too early in 2020, but I couldn't be wrong. And again, that's a massive credit to Brian Flores, in part because the defense he is running right now, again, is one of the best in the league. So when you have an incredible defense, ball hawking defense, getting turnovers, not allowing the other team to score points, you put your offense in position to succeed just by that. Because when you're not asking them to do a lot, when you only have to score 20, 24, 27 points a game in order to win most games, you're doing something well. You're doing something right. Look at Seattle. Russell Wilson has to be basically damn perfect in order for them to win a game because their defense is so bad. And that was exposed again yesterday up in Buffalo. But Brian Flores has it figured out on the defensive side. And that is allowing the offense to breathe, allowing the offense to kind of play loose. And I think so far we are seeing the benefits of that. Through 8 games, through half of the season, the offense is at 5-3 in a playoff spot. So I think, to your point, Ricardo, Brian Flores, to me, absolutely has a ton of my respect. One of my best friends is a Dolphins fan, so I talk about the Dolphins a lot with him. He loves Flores. I don't want to say underrated because I like a lot of people acknowledge what Brian Flores is doing. I just don't think we talk about the Dolphins enough to where he gets maybe the praise or the enough attention that he deserves, but I think that changes today. Going forward the rest of the year, the Dolphins, which I believe are playoff contenders, will be in the mix going, to the rest of the year. They will get the attention they deserve. Brian Flores will get the attention he deserves going forward. And Ricardo writes, no relation to Travis Etienne. At least that he knows of. He's digging through the family tree. So maybe there is a long-lost bloodline. There may be a 4th or 5th cousin to Travis Etienne, the incredible running back at Clemson. Maybe first-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft. But Ricardo, buddy, big Dolphins fan, it sounds like you are. Enjoy the win and enjoy the new era that is reigning in right now in Miami. That is a Tua era. Things are looking bright. Things are looking really, really, really good so far for the Dolphins in Miami. Like I said, they are, to me, a playoff contender. They're right there in the mix. I think they can get a spot. So I'm curious your thoughts. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show. On Twitter as well. You want to tweet me directly. We'll get your Dolphins thoughts. Ricardo thinks that they are a playoff team. Do you think the Dolphins are a playoff team? We'll get your thoughts throughout the rest of the show. We're here till 11 a.m. We'll read your thoughts on the air. Before we get out of here, I do want to get into some college football, though. It was a massive, massive, massive weekend for 2 programs in college football. We'll discuss one right here. Notre Dame, right? A team built on legacy of late. A team that unfortunately has more memories that are in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s than they do in the 2000s and the 2010s. But they did it. They got over the hump, years and years and years of falling short. They defeat number 1 Clemson 47-40 in double overtime, one of the best games in college football, maybe the game so far. In terms of back and forth, heavyweight versus heavyweight. An exciting finish. They get the win in South Bend. First time Notre Dame has beaten a number 1 team. Got to go all the way back, 1993. Wasn't even born yet. And they beat Florida State at home, and the Seminoles were number 1. And now, of all places, a little trivia here. Okay, it's going to be kind of obvious based on the topic. But do you now know who has the longest active winning streak in college football? Didn't really set it up too well. Obviously, you're probably going to assume because we're talking about Notre Dame, it's Notre Dame. But it is the Irish. 13 straight victories for Notre Dame, the longest active winning streak in college football at the moment. But I want to get into this game, right, versus Clemson. Last week, if you listen on Thursday, I made the argument, I discussed why this game, to me, was meaningless on both sides. More so for Notre Dame than Clemson. So if Clemson wins, they basically punch their ticket to the playoff going forward. But for Notre Dame, you win, I didn't think it meant much. If you lose, I didn't think it really meant much. Because either way, you have to face Clemson again in the ACC title game. And if we're looking strictly at playoff aspirations, making the college football playoff, being one of the last 4 teams standing in college football, I thought they would have to beat Clemson with Trevor Lawrence back in the game in the ACC title game if they wanted to make the playoff. I want to get into this game more because watching it play out on Saturday night, seeing the emotion, seeing the way Notre Dame wasn't intimidated by Clemson, punched them in the mouth, had their way with them at times, I want to say, one, I was wrong about Notre Dame in one aspect, and I was right about this game in another aspect. So let's start with what I was wrong about. I was wrong in saying this was a meaningless game, win or lose. I was flat out wrong. I thought it didn't mean much if Notre Dame won. I didn't think it meant much if Notre Dame lost. What I didn't factor in, what I didn't really take into account, was that, you know what? Without Trevor Lawrence, with DJ Uiagalelei, try saying that 5 times fast, with DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback for Clemson, this win, which they got, wouldn't be viewed impressively because obviously you're missing the best player in college football. What I didn't take into account, what I didn't factor in, is that this is a massive, massive momentum swing for Notre Dame. Like I said, first time since 1993 they've been the #1 team in the nation. Really, since Lou Holtz left Notre Dame, they've been known, in my lifetime, the last 25 years, for losing the big game. There are plenty of examples you can point to. If you watch the broadcast on NBC on Saturday night, they reference the the 2005 USC game. That was the last time a #1 team came into South Bend. Obviously, the Bush Push, famous, Notre Dame lost. Go to Alabama, 2012, the national title game. They were embarrassed. Florida State in 2014. Florida State coming off their national championship season, playing with Jameis Winston. Notre Dame was number 5. Florida State was number 2 that year. Notre Dame lost that game. Controversial. I still think there's no way that was pass interference. But they call pass interference in Notre Dame in the end zone. They lose that game. So again, they come close but lose. Clemson the very next year, same thing. They're playing in a monsoon. This is the first year in 2015 with Deshaun Watson where Clemson makes that break into the college football playoff, makes the college football championship, loses to Alabama. But this is when Clemson, this is the first year in 2015, they assert their dominance and make the transition into elite contender year in and year out. They lost that game 24-22 on a failed 2-point conversion. Fast forward to 2018, they play Clemson again in the college football playoff. Total butt whooping. 30-3, not close. So USC, you have 2005, 2012, 14, 15, 18. Plenty of examples of Notre Dame playing in massive games coming up short. I didn't even include any of the Georgia games the last few years, but same thing applies there. So you know what? I was wrong in saying that win doesn't mean much. Because you know what? That is a momentum swing for Notre Dame. That is kind of, you finally break the glass ceiling, per se. You finally, once you do it, you realize, you know what? We can actually win these games. Because you know what's hanging over their head. You know what's hanging over Brian Kelly's head. A ton of success at Notre Dame, can't win the big game. Notre Dame can't be trusted because year in and year out, they play these sort of games. Not only do they lose, more times than not, they get embarrassed. More times than not, they get embarrassed. It's funny. So we work weekends at CBS Sports Radio. One of the great hosts there, Andrew Filipponi. Great host. Great host. Big fan of his show. He spent the first hour on Saturday asking, is Notre Dame a pretender or contender leading to the game on Saturday night? Everyone that called that wasn't a Notre Dame fan, because there's obviously a few Notre Dame fans calling in to defend their team. Everyone that called in that wasn't a Notre Dame fan saying Notre Dame's a pretender, they're going to get blown out. That is the national perception of Notre Dame to college football fans. If you're not a fan of Notre Dame, if you have no investment to the Irish, you're just a casual bystander, casual college football fan or big-time college football fan with no ties, no reason to be a Notre Dame fan, you don't believe in them. And guess what? Notre Dame in the past few years has given you no reason to believe in them. But I'll give the Irish credit. This is a win that can carry some momentum to the ACC title game. Now, I'll say this. Trevor Lawrence is going to come back. We assume, obviously, he's going to look close to the same that he was before he missed time with COVID. I think Clemson's going to win this rematch. I do. But with that said, I'm believing in Notre Dame much more heading to that ACC title game than I did last week before the game played. This is the most confident I feel in a Notre Dame team in a while. Because they've not only they finally done it, they finally got over the hump. They weren't intimidated. They went blow for blow. And Clemson had momentum late in that game, and Notre Dame took it back. The offense under Ian Book this year struggled. It didn't look elite. And you know what? He made the big play when he had to. So that's where I was wrong. That's where I was wrong in saying this game is meaningless, because you know what? From a momentum standpoint, from an emotion standpoint, to get that win, to beat the #1 team in the nation, to actually see yourself and your program, which has come up short year after year after year, to actually see it happen, I think that's going to carry a confidence. I think it's going to do Notre Dame wonders when it comes to the rematch in Charlotte in the ACC title game. So I was wrong about that. Here's where I was right, though. Tremendous win. Absolutely tremendous win. Notre Dame comfortably now in the top 4 when it comes to at least in the AP poll, although, as we know, that doesn't mean much because the college football playoff poll is the only one that's going to come out in a few weeks. That's the only one that actually matters when it comes to making the playoff. So this win actually does, in my mind, buy them some leeway. But here's what they have to do. Here's where I was right. They have to compete with Clemson in Charlotte in the SEC title game. They have to play well. Maybe this win, what this win does, is not allow them or doesn't force them to win the game, but it has to be very close. If Trevor Lawrence returns in that game in a few weeks, and he picks apart Notre Dame in the ACC title game, it's a 14-point game. It's a 17-point game. It's even worse than that. You know what? I don't think this win this past weekend is enough to get Notre Dame in the playoff. If Clemson and Trevor Lawrence has the way with this Notre Dame defense, if it's night and day, despite the fact that DJ Uiagalelei threw for over 400 yards, if Trevor Lawrence has a ton of success and Clemson beats Notre Dame, beats him convincingly, beats him handily, I don't think this win is going to be enough to get Notre Dame in the playoff. I could be wrong. Obviously, it also depends on how other conferences shake out. It depends on how Florida does in their SEC title game against Alabama, we assume. It depends how Texas A&M, now a team with momentum, how they do. It depends how a team like Cincinnati in the AAC does. There's obviously a lot of factors going into that fourth and final playoff spot. But this win by Notre Dame doesn't put them in the playoff. It's not a shoo-in. It's not automatic. They still have to show up and play really, really, really well against Clemson again. That's how you mark a playoff team. That's how you mark an elite program. Those who compete at the highest level consistently. That's why Clemson is where they are. That's why Alabama is where they are. That's why Ohio State is where they are. Not only do they have a lot of talent, not only do they win a lot of games, they compete with the best routinely and either win or keep it really close. Consistently and routinely play those games tight, play those games to their competition. That's what Notre Dame has to do again in a month or so from now when they play Clemson again. So it's an awesome win, momentum-wise, emotion-wise. It's going to carry them. It's not meaningless. I was wrong about that. But Notre Dame still has to show up. This is not, okay, job's over, boys. We did it. We're in the playoff. I'll see you on New Year's Day. They have to compete just as hard or maybe even harder when Trevor Lawrence returns and they play Clemson again in Charlotte in a few weeks. Notre Dame's done it once. I hope they can do it again. I really do. I think it would be awesome to see Notre Dame back in the playoff and back in the playoff convincingly thinking they have a chance to win. Convincingly thinking and having fans believe, you know what, they can win this playoff game. This is not the Notre Dame of old where they get on the big stage and just fall flat. So I'm curious your thoughts. Notre Dame beats Clemson, double overtime against a backup quarterback at home. Is Notre Dame a playoff team? Are you back? Does this win kind of bring you back to Notre Dame actually being a legitimate title contender? We'll get your Notre Dame thoughts on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show. We'll get your thoughts when we come back. Hour number 2, we'll start with moving day, right? Open the show in case you missed it. Week number 9 in the NFL to me was moving day. A few teams with playoff aspirations made their mark for the second half of the season and set themselves up to be contenders. The Dolphins did that. One team that didn't do that, that missed an opportunity, was the Indianapolis Colts. Were they exposed yesterday by the Ravens? We'll get into that. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
We are back here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, hour number 2 of the Ryan Hickey Show, coming to you live from the Big Italy Pizzeria Studios, where it's great pizza, hot heroes, and phenomenal dinners. Check them out in Big Italy Pizzeria in person in Medford, Joe's Pizzeria in Bayshore, or wherever you are, globally, across the great internet at BigItalyPizza.com. Talking a lot of Miami Dolphins here. Are they a playoff team? Are you concerned about the Buccaneers at all, as they just get trounced, embarrassed, pantsed? Whatever adjective you want to use to describe the Saints' butt whooping that they put on the Buccaneers yesterday, 38-3. I'm not concerned from the Buccaneers, to be completely honest. And this is one bad game. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. A Murphy's Law game, if you will, for Tampa Bay. I think they'll bounce back and they'll be okay. Dolphins, 100% playoff contenders. And Notre Dame football. Are they a playoff team? Are you believing in them now to make a college football playoff run? They knock off number 1 Clemson. No Trevor Lawrence, but DJ Uiagalelei stepped up incredibly. Threw for over 400 yards as Notre Dame pulls out a double overtime victory. Are you believing in Notre Dame? Are they a playoff team? We're taking your thoughts on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show, also on Twitter. And get your thoughts on any of those topics, and obviously the ones we have going forward for hour number 2 of the show. Before we go any further, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it, and I apologize. I meant to mention at the top of the show, and I realized I didn't, so I'm going to mention now, and I apologize for the hour delay. But obviously a very sad passing we had in the world yesterday with Jeopardy host Alex Trebek unfortunately passing away. Obviously, as we know, dealt with pancreatic cancer for a while, kept fighting through it, kept doing shows. At least that's for me. That's why yesterday was so surprising. It was just because he still was working. You see him in the public light. He didn't look that ill. He looked pretty damn good, to be honest. Still had his wits about him. Still was very funny. But unfortunately, Jeopardy did confirm yesterday that the great Alex Trebek unfortunately did pass away from cancer yesterday, and just another tragic loss for this year. And he's one of the big ones. That's an icon. Obviously, I'm sure, like a lot of people, love the show Jeopardy. He's always one of those hosts, and it did a great job, now you think about it, for not knowing any of the answers, right? Maybe 1 or 2 a show, I would guess, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are a lot better at guessing Jeopardy at home than I was, but only we got 1 or 2 right. Go crazy if I got one right, but still watch the show. Still, he was one of those hosts, did an incredible job of not alienating the offense, alienating the audience, making you feel smart, making you feel welcome, despite the fact that we're watching 3 brainiacs each and every night know trivia that no one else would even think to know from the 1800s. He did an awesome job, incredible host, and just a very sad and devastating loss for just the world. Just the world. So I wanted to give my condolences to Alex Trebek and his family. Again, I meant to do this at the top of the show. I apologize for the hour delay, but wanted to get that out there before we move forward at all. There's really no easy transition going forward, so we're just going to get into it. For hour number 2 here, the Ryan Hickey Show. Colts yesterday, I thought, had a pivotal game against the Raiders. They're in a tough 4-game stretch right now. The Colts came into yesterday at 5-2 on the year, in a playoff position. They were 5-2 last year before they bottomed out and missed the playoffs. So I thought this was a big stretch and a big game for the Colts in order to kind of cement their legitimacy to the rest of the AFC against a team that, honestly, the more I thought about it yesterday, the more I thought the Colts were going to win. They matched up really well against the Ravens, especially on the defensive side for the Colts going against that Ravens offense and Lamar Jackson. They held up, easy for me to say, their end of the bargain against the Ravens offense. But I thought this was a game, and again, in a tough 4-game stretch, they play the Ravens, they play the Titans in Tennessee on a short week this week. They play the Packers and the Titans again. Very tough 4-week stretch, although a very telling 4-week stretch for the Colts. They get off not to the best start here as they fall 24-10 to the Ravens, now drop to 5-3 on the year on the outside looking in for the playoffs. Again, still plenty of time to go. 8 games. We're halfway through the year, so a lot can happen. But I'm not going to lie. Again, being a Colts fan myself, watching this team almost every game, and being an advocate against Phillip Rivers so far since they really signed him back in March. This game, to me, brought my biggest fears to light for the Indianapolis Colts. And that was this. If the offense doesn't run perfectly, if things don't go smoothly, if things don't go how the Colts game plan it to be, offensively, this team struggles and not going to put up points. Because as we've known, and we knew this coming in, it's not like that we're figuring this out now. We knew this coming into the year. Phillip Rivers isn't good enough anymore to be the reason why a team wins a big game. A big game, right? He played really well against the Bengals a few weeks ago. He played really well against the Lions last week. 6 touchdowns, 1 interception in those 2 games, threw for over 600 yards. But let me remind you, it is the Bengals and it's the Lions. The Colts brought him in to win games like this against the Ravens. To make 2 or 3 throws a game to beat the good teams and give themselves a chance, because that was what they were missing last year with Jacoby Brissett. Brissett wasn't able to make the 2 or 3 big throws. He wasn't aggressive enough, and they thought bringing in an aggressive-minded, down-the-field shot-taking Phillip Rivers, this would unlock the offense, and this would help them make the playoffs this year and not miss it. And to be honest, that is why I'm very concerned. Because yesterday, Phillip Rivers on this offense they were not able to do that. When the Colts needed Rivers the most yesterday, he could not deliver. Because in losing 24-10 at home to the Ravens, 10 points is not going to cut it against good teams. Getting shut out in the second half isn't going to cut it if you want to try to make the playoffs. Phillip Rivers going 25 of 43 for 227 yards and 1 interception is not going to cut it. Now, I want to get to the interception quickly because I don't want to spend too much time on it. Was it a missed call? Yes. That was one of the worst interception calls I've ever seen and blatantly goes against everything we've tried to know about what a catch is. Right? It's one of the most frustrating things being an NFL fan. No one really knows what a catch is. We've played football in the backyard. We've watched football our whole lives. And because these angles and split-second screens now can show the ball moving a hair or whatever our preconceived notion of a catch was has changed throughout the years. So calling that an interception, despite the fact that Marcus Peters did not complete the process of the catch, I guess I'm assuming there's 2 different sets of rules for wide receivers completing the process of the catch and everyone else completing the process of the catch, because that, from what we've been told, relearned, re-educated about what a catch is, that goes against everything that should have been. Marcus Peters makes the catch, takes a few steps, wrestled to the ground. As you go into the ground, the Colts wide receiver, I forget who it is, I apologize. I think it's Michael Pittman, but I could be wrong, wrestled the ball out and knocked it out. It ruled incomplete. Ruled incomplete on the field. Again, social media is what it is. Maybe it's a bad barometer, but I really didn't see anybody that wasn't a Ravens fan defending the reversal or saying it was an interception. But that set aside, it was also a bad pass by Phillip Rivers. Like, Phillip Rivers does deserve some blame here. He got screwed on the call, yes. It wasn't an interception. But at the same time, he threw a bad pass. He underthrew his receiver significantly, and that's why Marcus Peters looked like the intended receiver, not the Colts wide receiver. Rivers missed a few deep shots over the field. One looked like a miscommunication where I thought it was more on the receiver than Rivers, but he had a few of the deep passes that he missed. And this Colts team couldn't stay on the field, and that was the story of the second half because they were awful on third down. Just 2 of 12. And with that grinding, punishing, physical style the Ravens have, We saw right in front of our eyes, the Colts defense got worn down because the offense couldn't sustain drives, shut out in the second half, and again, put 10 points on the board. Can't win games like that. Rivers couldn't deliver. Now, to be fair, this is not all on Philip Rivers. Like I said before, we know Philip Rivers isn't good enough anymore to be the reason why his teams win the big game. Philip Rivers wasn't brought to Indianapolis to take on a Patrick Mahomes type of responsibility, right? Patrick Mahomes is the Chiefs' offense. He's going to win games with his arm. He's going to win games with spectacular throws. He's going to throw the ball 30, 35, 40 times a game, no problem. Philip Rivers, if he's throwing the ball 30, 35, 40 times a game, the Colts are in trouble. The Colts are in big, big, big trouble, and it happened again yesterday. 43 pass attempts. Philip Rivers was not brought here, to throw the ball all over the yard. He was brought here again to make 2 or 3 throws a game that Jacoby Brissett could not make last year. And the reason why this is not all Philip Rivers' fault is because the Colts' identity in offense is built on running the ball first. They have a great offensive line, one of the best in the NFL. They need to establish the run in order to open up the pass for Philip Rivers. This is a run-first team, then throw the ball. There's not the Chiefs where they pass first to set up the run. This is a team that runs the ball to set up the pass. And unfortunately for the Colts, they couldn't establish the run yesterday. And when you can't run the ball consistently, when you don't have success doing so, when you're not getting chunks on first and second down, and instead Philip Rivers is working on 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, that's a recipe for disaster. And that's what happened yesterday. That was my biggest fear, is that when things don't go perfectly, when the run game is not playing well, right? When they're not establishing the run, when the offensive line isn't moving bodies on the defensive line, when Philip Rivers is asked to throw the ball more than 25 times a game, this offense is in trouble, and we saw it yesterday. The game plan's out for the Colts. They really miss Marlon Mack. Jonathan Taylor was still a really good running back in my mind. He's asked to do a lot, maybe unfairly, as a rookie. But so far, they can't consistently run the ball, and that is the Colts' biggest flaw. Because guess what? On the flip side, the defense deserved to win this game. The Ravens came into yesterday's game 4th in the NFL with 5.1 yards per carry. Almost picking up half a first down every single time they ran the ball. The Colts defense yesterday held the Ravens to just 2.9 yards per rush. Went from 5.1 4th in the NFL to just 2.9 yesterday's game. They slowed down Lamar Jackson for most of the game. Forced a huge turnover early in the 3rd quarter to kind of flip momentum right before that interception was thrown. But the defense was victim because their own offense hurt them with turnovers. Their own offense couldn't sustain drives. And that second half was dominated by the Ravens because the Colts offense couldn't stay on the field and the Colts defense couldn't get off there exhausted. And that is my biggest fear about this Colts team. They have an elite defense. I really trust them to play really well. They have played really well. They have a great offensive line. But if they can't run the ball, if the offense doesn't run perfectly, they're in big trouble. Philip Rivers, again, 43 pass attempts is not the winning recipe. That's not how you win games. Philip Rivers threw the ball over 40 times against Jacksonville. They lost. Throws the ball over 40 times yesterday. They lose, and they only scored 10 points. So I am legitimately concerned about the Colts. To me, they were exposed yesterday. They played really well, again, offensive the last 2 weeks against the Bengals and the Lions. But again, I say it's the Bengals and the Lions. When you need your quarterback to step up and make some plays for you in the big games, Philip Rivers has to be that guy, and so far he's proven he can't be that guy. So I'm curious your thoughts. Right? Colts are 5-3, right in that mix with the Raiders, with the Dolphins, and with the Browns for 4 teams fighting for 2 playoff spots. How do you view the Colts? Where do you rank those 4 teams? Because right now I'm not feeling too confident about the Colts. And it's for 2 words, Philip Rivers. Not feeling good. I think yesterday was a game that exposes the Colts, exposes why if things aren't going perfectly on offense, they can't win games. So get your Colts thoughts. Can Philip Rivers, can he lead this team to the playoffs? Can the Colts make a postseason run? Or are they frauds? We'll get your thoughts, and when we come back, quick hits time. We'll go around the NFL. Steelers. Do you have confidence or concern about the Steelers? Chargers fans. Oh, God. Goodness gracious. We'll get into that as well. It is the Ryan Hickey Show right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And welcome on back into the Ryan Hickey Show here until 11 a.m. Eastern, as we are every Monday and every Thursday. It's 10:20 on a Monday. You know what that means. Quick hits time, going around the league, reacting to a lot of the games you couldn't hit in. Talked a lot about the Dolphins. They playoff contenders. You worried about the Colts? And should there be concern? Was anything exposed yesterday about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? To me, I say no. One of those games that just everything that could go wrong did go wrong yesterday. I don't take much out of it, to be honest, going forward. So I'm very curious your thoughts. Again, Facebook, Worldwide Sports Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, and Ryan Hickey Show, also on radio. Also on Twitter. Ryan Hickey Show on Twitter. You can tweet at me directly. So go around the league here. Week number 9, almost in the books. Again, save for the matchup of the year so far with the Patriots and the Jets tonight. Joe Flacco, Cam Newton, just like we all want to see. I'm sure everyone will be tuned in. Can't wait for that. Counting down as we speak, actually. I have a countdown clock right here, counting down the seconds until we get kickoff on ESPN. So we will bounce around week number 9 for Sunday action. I have a question because, honestly, I don't know the answer to it yet. Like I said, I try to provide answers on this show. I try to give you my thoughts, and I try to at least ask questions and give you my thoughts, which is an answer. I don't have an answer yet for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to ask this question. Should there be confidence in the Steelers at 8-0, or should there be concern about the Steelers at 8-0? I'm honestly conflicted to feel how I feel about Pittsburgh. So obviously, look, they're the only NFL team undefeated, right? They're 8-0, halfway to a perfect season. They beat the Cowboys in a nail-biter. Yeah, exactly. They beat the Cowboys in a nail-biter. That period stopped, 24-19, with big, bad Garrett Gilbert at quarterback. No, Dak didn't come back. Andy Dalton didn't come back from his concussion. Ben DiNucci wasn't starting. It was big, bad Garrett Gilbert, who almost was a throw in the end zone away with no time left from ending the Steelers' undefeated season. So the question I have is concern or confidence is because I don't know how to view this Pittsburgh team. They've played one complete game so far. Right? They've had an awful second half against the Titans. Total awful. Now, they won that game, right? Steven Gostkowski misses a field goal at the end. That would have forced overtime. They win that game. They followed that up a week later against the Ravens. They have an even worse first half against the Ravens than they did second half against the Titans the week before. Awful. To their credit, down 17-7 at halftime, they come back, they win the game. So their only real complete game, in my mind, was against the Browns so far. They just totally destroy the Browns up and down. They have a great game. But other than that, out of the 8 games, there's not really many games I look at and say that's complete. I think 1 out of 8. So they are good for sure, don't get me wrong. But I'm not sure if I should be impressed that they're 8-0 without really playing great, or if I should be concerned that, I don't want to say lucky, but they've kind of skated by, caught a few breaks in order to get to 8-0, and that it's going to even out at some point. You know, the breaks are going to stop going their way and instead start going the other way, and that those losses now could start piling up. Big Ben obviously got hurt. We'll watch that knee injury, but I honestly don't know how to feel. Concern or confidence, I'm honestly conflicted about the Steelers so far. We'll see how they go, but they are 8-0. Most importantly, they got the win, but does not look pretty. Did not look pretty doomed, so that is for sure. We'll go from one team looking pretty to one unit not looking pretty, and that is the Seahawks defense. Oh, my goodness. You talk about a real liability. They lose to the Bills 44-34. Josh Allen threw for 415 passing yards against that Seattle secondary yesterday. Destroyed them. Up and down the field, had his way with them, couldn't be stopped. Allen, so this is, how about this stat? So the Seahawks now have played 8 games, right? 8 games, halfway through the season. They've had a quarterback throw for 400 or more yards against them 4 times. Half the games they're playing, quarterbacks are throwing for over 400 yards, and we're going to be gracious. We're rounding up Cam's 397 against week 2 up to in that level. So you want to get technical, it's 3, but we're going to round Cam throwing for 397 yards, round that up to the 400 club. Half of the games Seattle's played so far, they've allowed the opposing quarterback to throw for over 400 yards. Their defense is allowing 30.3 points per game so far this year. You talk about an extremely thin margin, excuse me, for Russell Wilson and this offense to navigate within. Now, Russell Wilson, to be fair to the defense for a second, Russell Wilson had 4 turnovers. He did the defense 0 favors. He put them in some bad positions, so not all of that 44 points is on the defense. I want to say that. 4 turnovers is not going to win you any game, no matter who you play. But with that said, the way this defense is trending so far, halfway through the year, Cowboys-esque, Raiders-esque, you're asking Russell Wilson to basically be an MVP every game. And if he's not the MVP, you're not winning that game. You have no chance to win. So the Seahawks, to me, their defense is a legitimate liability. They got Jamal Adams back yesterday. They traded for Carlos Dunlap. They got some reinforcements, and they weren't able to do anything. They can't get a pass rusher, which is really where it starts. They can't get any pressure on the quarterback, and from there, their secondary is just getting toasted because quarterbacks have all the time in the world. So I'm very interested to see what Pete Carroll can do, adjustment-wise, second half of the year. Because if this defense doesn't get figured out, Russell Wilson may well win the MVP, but that team is not going deep in the playoffs. That team is not going deep in the playoffs. That defense is a major, major liability. How about we'll single out one player here. How about Dalvin Cook? I was wrong. Hand up. I've said I was wrong a lot today. What a shock. But I was wrong about Dalvin Cook. Yesterday, 22 carries, 206 yards on the ground alone, 2 touchdowns, as the Vikings beat the Lions. Back-to-back games now, over 200 scrimmage yards. 7 straight games for Dalvin Cook with a touchdown. And this is crazy. I didn't even realize this. The last 21 games Dalvin Cook has played in, right? He's missed some games for injuries. The last 21 games Dalvin Cook has played in, he's scored a touchdown in 18 of them. Fantasy, if you have my fantasy, I'm sure you are very happy. You're a big Dalvin Cook fan. But I won't forget this offseason, when contract negotiations were playing out between Dalvin Cook and the Vikings, when Dalvin Cook was going to hold out, basically say, give me a contract I'm not playing. I thought it was a major mistake. Hand up, I thought it was a major mistake by the Vikings to pay him money. Because the injuries, he's been injured every single year he's been in the league, outside of last year. So the sample size of health is not good. And position running back, if you can't say running back position is tough to pay in general, right? You have to be the elite of the elite, and you have to be a Christian McCaffrey type where you can catch the ball out of the backfield, you can be a receiver and a runner. Now, to be fair, Dalvin Cook is very good in the screen game, and that's what the Vikings do a lot. So he fits perfectly in that offense. But he's kept the team afloat. Now, the Vikings aren't going to make the playoffs, but he has been their offensive identity. The Vikings need a player like him in order to have success on offense, in order to get the pressure off Kirk Cousins. So again, it's a long contract. It could play out differently. Dalvin Cook could get run down and maybe never be healthy again. But so far, I think I was wrong with that contract because you know what? Not only is he playing really well, he is the focal point. He is that centerpiece of that offense, at least with Kirk Cousins there, until you get a real quarterback. So credit Dalvin Cook. He's having himself a hell of a season. Speaking of having a hell of a season, and it being a season from hell, really is what I should say. Chargers fans, man. I know there's a lot of jokes being made about Chargers have no fans. And you know what? Honestly, I hope they don't. Because if you truly are a Chargers fan, you stuck through the move from San Diego to Los Angeles. They ditched you. They left you. How do you still root for this team each and every week when all they do is find new ways to break your heart? It's honestly a health hazard to root for the Chargers. Because each week, not only are they losing close games, they're finding new ways to lose week in and week out. And it's just excruciating. Excruciating. Yesterday, in case you missed it, they are playing the Raiders. They are down by 5 points. They are driving. They are looking to score a touchdown to win the game. They get down to the 5-yard line. They have 2 shots at the end zone with a chance to win the game. Throw the ball to Mike Williams, has the ball, drops on his way down, incomplete. 1 second left. Justin Herbert throws a fade pass to a tight end. He comes down with it. The ruling on the field is touchdown. No time left. Game over. Chargers win. The referee signals touchdown. Team explodes onto the field. The Chargers have finally done it. 1 week after blowing a 24-3 lead to the Chargers. 1 week after losing on a last-second touchdown where KJ Hamler catches it with no time on the clock. They get one untimed down, and Denver scores. 1 week later, you get a touchdown, you flip the script, you beat a good Raiders team, you beat a competitive Raiders team, and now you're on the other side of a less-than victory. Goes to replay. Just to confirm, 2 feet in, ball doesn't move. First angle looks good. Second angle looks good. Third angle looks good. Fourth angle, uh-oh. Oh, no. Is that ball moving? We have a reversal on the field. Incomplete. The catch wasn't made. And the Chargers lose again. This is a Chargers team that has lost every game in which they've had a 17-point lead. And the one game they held on to, they had a 16-point lead against the Jaguars and barely held on for life. So honestly, if you're a Chargers fan, I don't know how you do it. How are you still alive? Every week it's heart palpitation after heart palpitation. They get you excited. Boom, they rush out to a big lead. This is the week. This is the week they're not going to blow it. This is the week they're going to finish out the game. And what happens? week after week after week. The lead shrinks. They lose in excruciating fashion. This week, they come from behind. They try to flip the script. They try to make a comeback. Rule touchdown on the field, overturned. I mean, I guess if you're a Chargers fan, you listen. Justin Herbert's playing tremendous. Better than I think anyone anticipated. Another game over 300 yards. He's looking really good. So there's your beacon of hope. There's a reason to keep watching. But, man, I am so sorry. The Falcons of the West, I don't even know which is worse, to be honest, if you'd rather be a Falcons fan or a Chargers fan. Because the Chargers, at least, it feels like this is just, not only is it a new way to lose, but there is just, they give you the hope, at least. Goodness gracious. I don't. Falcons fans of the East, Chargers fans of the West, my apologies. I hope you're healthy. Honestly, if you don't have good health care, maybe don't watch every Sunday, honestly. Do it for yourself. You don't want to go out on a missed Chargers touchdown or getting overturned or blowing a 21-point lead. There are better ways to go out. There are better ways to go out than stressing over a Falcons loss or, in this case, another Chargers loss. It's honestly impressive. It is flat out impressive every single week how they are able to get your hopes up, play really well, and then fall on their face and blow it. And finally, actually we have two more here. One will be very quick. We'll finish the long thoughts with this. How about Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers? Give Matt Rule a lot of credit. This is a feisty bunch. They play super tough. They play hard. They don't beat themselves. They don't get intimidated. And they are building a nice team, a nice culture down there in Carolina. They pushed Chiefs to the brink. They almost pull out an improbable win. I mean, they were. Now, Joey Sly kick yesterday wasn't close, but they were 2 yards of hitting a big field goal against the Saints last week, and at least we're in position, albeit a miracle 67-yard field goal, to beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. So credit to what Matt Rule is building over there. Teddy Bridgewater, 310 yards, 3 total touchdowns against the Chiefs yesterday. He played really well. Christian McCaffrey returned. Credit to Matt Rule. The wins aren't there right now. And once he gets a legitimate franchise quarterback, I like what him and Joe Brady are dialing up offensively. This is a team that's building and trending in the right direction for the Panthers. Credit to Matt Rule. He's a culture changer. He's taking control of that organization. And he has them going in the right direction. They are trending in the right way, despite, again, not getting a win. Being under 500, they are trending in the right direction. And building, mind you, look at that division really quick. The Falcons, I think, could be in the market for a rebuild this offseason, depending on where they go with head coach and GM. If they like Matt Ryan, if they like Julio Jones, there could be some pieces getting shipped out of Atlanta. The Saints with Drew Brees, I think this is his last year. And Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, maybe, just not going to be his last year, but maybe he has one good year left next year. That division, next year, 2 years from now, is going to be wide open. A lot of teams with the Saints, with the Falcons try to go for it, and the Buccaneers all going for the Super Bowl this year and next year. The Panthers are building to where, don't look now, they have a chance to, I don't want to say control, because that's getting way ahead of myself. They have a chance to compete for the division every single year within the next 2 or 3 years. They really do. So credit to you, Matt Rule. You play another hard game. You play tough. Give you a lot of credit. And finally, this one's going to be really quick. The Bears. That's it. This Bears team stinks. 5-1 to 5-4. They're going to miss the playoffs. I tried to say that a few weeks ago. Now, at 2-0, I said they were frauds. 3-0, I said they were frauds. 4, I don't know if they made 3-1. They were 3-1 because they're also the Colts. I apologize. Every week I felt like I was trying to tell you how this Bears team was one of the worst 2-0 teams ever. One of the worst 3-0 teams ever. We're finally seeing it. It took them getting to 5-1 before things are starting to finally hit the fan. For this offensive ineptitude, is finally coming back to bite them. They are playing some awful football. And honestly, this is a game I don't even think I'm going to rewatch. I saw enough, and it was all ugly. So Bears fans, I'm sorry, but putrid. So that's going to do it for week number 9 of Quick Hits. I would love any thoughts, any big takeaway that I didn't hit on, that you want to agree on, that you want to disagree on. Love to hear it. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Twitter, WWSRN_radio. At Ryan Hickey Show, also on Twitter. So get your thoughts. Any takeaway from week number 9 in the NFL season? Whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether I didn't hit on it, whether I apologize, I left your team out, shouldn't have left them out. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll get to that. And when we come back, a massive college football game also took place. We talked about Notre Dame's big win over Clemson. We'll talk about Florida's win over Georgia. Can Florida hang with Alabama? Give you my thoughts on the Ryan Hickey Show returns right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Setuha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the Ryan Hickey Show, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
A ton of stuff to talk about today in the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. A moving day of sorts, if you will, if you want to use a golf term here. For week number 9 of the NFL, Dolphins, in my mind, moved up. Colts moved down. Our guy Clarence Nixon, a great voice and host on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Listen to Clarence, I'm telling you. That's why you got to like Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Follow us on Twitter, WWSRN_radio. And download the app, WWSRN on iOS if you have an iPhone. Worldwide Sports Radio Network if you have an Android. Clarence does an incredible job with him and the crew right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And anytime his show is live, you won't miss it. You like us on Facebook, you follow us on Twitter, you download the app. You will get a notification every time his show goes live, and you will not miss it. You'll be in the loop. He writes on Facebook, Miami looking real good. I would agree, Clarence. I would 100% agree. Moving day for the Vikings. Moving day for the Dolphins in a good way. Moving day for the Colts in a not-so-good way. So again, any of your Week 9 thoughts here? Are the Dolphins a playoff team? Are you concerned about the Colts at all? To me, the Colts were exposed against the Ravens for showing that the offense is not running perfectly The running game's not going great. Phil Rivers is not the kind of guy to throw the team to victory. 2 or 3 throws, yes. 43 throws? No. And that's what happened yesterday. Colts fall the Ravens 24-10. Dolphins defeat the Cardinals 34-31 on the road in the desert. Very impressive start so far for Tua Tagovailoa, 2-0 in his career. We're talking about that. Notre Dame, massive win over Clemson. I was right in that Notre Dame's going to have to win again, or at least be competitive against Clemson, whichever Lawrence returns if they want to go to the playoff. I was wrong in that. I said this game is meaningless on Thursday. I sat here 4 days ago. This game is meaningless. Notre Dame wins, Notre Dame loses. It won't have that much of an impact because the ACC title game will determine if Notre Dame is a playoff team or not. I was wrong. There's momentum, emotion that Notre Dame is feeling right now, the confidence they will carry into Charlotte in about a month or so when they play Clemson again. To me, you know what? You can't put a price on that. That's massive, and that's a thing going in their favor. So anything you want to talk about, a lot we've covered so far. Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Twitter, WWSRN_radio, at Ryan Hickey Show, also on Twitter if you want to tweet me directly. We'll get your thoughts before we get out of here in about 10 minutes. I do want to circle back to one last college football point. We had a second massive game, right? We had obviously number 4 Notre Dame hosting number 1 Clemson. We also had number 8 Florida taking on number 5 Georgia in the world's largest outdoor cocktail party down there in Jacksonville. And Florida thrashes Georgia, beats them 44-28. And to me, at least, the question is, coming out of this game, now with Florida winning, having control of the SEC East, they're on a collision course, and barring an unexpected upset, barring some sort of miracle, Florida will be playing Georgia in the SEC title game. Do they have a chance to hang with them? Can they beat the Crimson Tide? Can they keep up with them? To me, the answer is yes. And honestly, Nick Saban gave me the answer. Nick Saban told us and everyone why Florida has a legitimate shot to hang with Alabama. And going back about a month or so ago, when Alabama took on Georgia, right, and Alabama beat them pretty well. Nick Saban, after the game, said that good defenses anymore can't beat good offenses. It's an offensive league, and right now the offense has the advantage over the defense. Defense doesn't win championships. Good offenses, beat good defenses. And you know what? That bodes in Florida's favor. Because guess what? Alabama proved that day, beating Georgia, and Florida followed it up with the same sort of beating, with the same sort of success on offense to show that they can keep up with an Alabama-led attack. Because Florida's offense is elite. Elite. I tried to tell you that back in September when they smoked Ole Miss, when Kyle Trask was on fire. Now, looking back, Ole Miss defense, everyone's having success with that Ole Miss defense. What does it take away from what Kyle Trask has accomplished so far this season? And going against that great, elite Georgia defense that Kirby Smart has recruited time and time again to be one of the best defenses in college football, Kyle Trask on Saturday throws for 474 yards. 474! Not against Ole Miss's defense, not against a high school defense, not against the little sisters of the poor. Against this Georgia defense, granted had injuries, missing a few key guys, but is one of the elite defenses in college football. Torched for 474 and 4 touchdowns. The yards most ever allowed by Georgia to a Florida team, and the most passing yards Georgia's given up in 2 decades. Flat out, against any opponent. This is also, mind you, without their best weapon, with possibly the best tight end in college football, in Kyle Pitts. Okay, just 2 catches left in the first half because he got hit in the head. On a scary hit. Went to the locker room. So even without their best option, Kyle Trask was still picking apart this Georgia defense. And now, when you look at Florida's offense compared to Alabama's offense, there's a drop-off. But it's not as significant. It's not as drastic. It's not a ledge that isn't catchable, that Florida can't rise up to. Florida's offense so far is allowing is scoring 42.4 points per game. Alabama on the flip side, 47. So 5 points. Alabama's the advantage by 5 points. Yards per game. Florida has 495, Alabama 555. So about 60 yards So Alabama's offense outscoring the Gators by 5 points per game, outgaining the Gators by about 60 yards per game. But passing yards, Florida's offense 369, Alabama 380, so about a 10-yard difference. To me, those numbers and that gap is not that wide. That is easily attainable to reach for Florida's offense. And just like Nick Saban said after that Georgia game, good defenses can't beat good offenses anymore. It's an offensive league. The rules are built for offense. The rules are built for passing. If you have a quarterback, you are going to be a problem. And right now, Florida not just has a quarterback, they have the best quarterback in the SEC. So in another month, when these two teams meet, I am very excited to see what happens. And I think I think Florida can absolutely hang with Alabama. This is not going to be SEC title games in recent years with Florida and Alabama, where Florida's come in without a quarterback, with their offense being one of the worst in college football, but having a great defense. This is going to be a Florida team that's going to score and score a lot of points. And I think they can absolutely keep up with this high-flying, potent Alabama offense. That's the only way Alabama is going to lose this year, is by a team keeping up with them offensively and maybe getting one or two stops on the defensive side. So you got Clemson, elite offense, Ohio State, elite offense, Alabama, elite offense. I'm putting Florida, elite offense. I'm putting them in there. They deserve it. Kyle Trask, another day in the office, torturing Georgia for almost 500 yards. Again, injuries hurt the Bulldogs a little bit here, but that's no accident. So I am so excited to watch Florida the rest of the year. This was a game, too, because Georgia has had Florida's number the past few years, because Kirby Smart has beaten Dan Mullen every single time those two have faced off. Early on, you saw Florida play tight, play tense, play almost, or I should say they were playing too hard, trying too hard. And Georgia got out to a quick 14-0 lead. Credit to Florida. They bounced back. They took control of that game, led by their offensive quarterback in Kyle Trask. So Alabama is going to have their hands full, like I said in September, with Florida when those two match up in the SEC title game. That is coming truer and truer because of Florida's win over Georgia. I am so excited to see how this shakes up. Maybe we can have a massive upside-down flip when it comes to the college football playoff. That's going to do it for this edition of the Ryan Hickey Show. Really appreciate all of you who tuned in. Really appreciate all of you who chimed in on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope. Always love interacting with you guys. That's why, love doing the show. That's why I always encourage Facebook reaching out, Twitter reaching out, Periscope reaching out, because I love hearing your thoughts. I talk all the time. I don't really care what I think. I love to hear what you think. You agree, disagree, so that's why I love having you guys involved in the show. So appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you guys being involved in this Monday. Hopefully, made your Monday a little bit better, a little bit brighter, and hopefully make starting off Mondays, obviously, which always can be a tough task, that much easier. So enjoy the barn burner. Speaking of great offense, right, with Florida and Georgia, or Florida and Alabama. Florida and Alabama. I will not get that confused. I apologize. Florida and Alabama, elite offenses. We're going to see some elite play tonight. Jets and Patriots. Cam versus Flacco. First one of 10 might win that game. Oy vey. Gotta love that one on national TV. So enjoy that game tonight. Enjoy the rest of the week. If you're in the Northeast, enjoy the gorgeous weather that's out there. We'll talk to you on Thursday right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.